Almost all of my black and white large format photography is done with two film stocks, Ilford's HP5 and FP4 Plus. These are both films that I'm a very big fan of, that serve me well, and that I pretty much never stray from. But I've had a box of this stuff in the fridge here for quite some time now. This is Ilford's Ortho Plus, and obviously this is quite a different film, but also one that's completely new to me. And I'd been meaning to get out for quite a while now to shoot some of this, specifically side by side with Ilford's HP5. Obviously these are two very different films, but my thinking was that would give me the best idea of how different a slow speed orthochromatic film looks for the type of work that I do, which is typically outdoors in the landscape. So just yesterday I loaded up some ortho and some HP5, headed out here in my local area, the English countryside, to shoot some of this and see how it compares. And I wanted to make this video to share that experience with you, bring you along, show you the images and the results, and we're going to start with that, and then we'll jump here in the office later and do a little bit of a deeper dive looking at some of the specifics. So if you're not familiar with Ortho Plus, what makes it different than HP5 and a lot of other films is that it's an orthochromatic film rather than panchromatic. Basically, unlike a panchromatic film, Ortho Plus has limited to no red sensitivity, which means that anything red and even some orange in the image will be rendered quite dark. But then on the other hand, is blue and green sensitivity apparently can be great for helping render green foliage lighter or something like green grass and help with separation. So I was very curious to see how noticeable this would be, considering a lot of my work here in the UK is done outdoors where green is quite a dominant color. All right, so at my first spot here where we're going to start today, this is just a place that's pretty close to where I live. I come here all the time to do camera tests and even just to shoot. It's this interesting old churchyard at the end of this long road where there's this farm. I think this closed down about 50, 60 years ago. And yeah, there's just all these little kind of details and interesting things to photograph. So going to make about 3 or 4 images at this place today, starting with this scene right here. It's this tree with this wooden chair at the bottom. And I've photographed this a number of times. Love this kind of the details here, but I thought this could be interesting because you have the green leaves on the tree, then you have kind of the dead reddish orange leaves on the ground, you have the trunk and everything. So it'd be interesting to see how the two films render this, how much different they are. So we'll start with the ortho, and then as quick as I can, without the light changing, throw in a sheet of HP5. Okay, so I don't think that sun's going away, so I am going to shoot this just metering kind of the bark on the tree where it starts to fall off into the shadows, shooting an f4, and that gives me 1/125th of a second. So that's what we're gonna go with. Our HP5. So it's worth mentioning as we get into this that all of the film I shot in this video I developed at home using a rotary processor and Ilford's DDX developer, and then digitized with a camera scanning setup. So these results are unique to my process, and of course you might have a different experience based on how you approach things. Okay, so this is going to be frame number 2. Really like this scene here. I love how you have obviously the interesting old window, the glass kind of broken out, piece of wood there on the ground. You have the green vines growing up the side, the green on the ground. So yeah, this will be another one where I'll be interested to see how these two films compare. So this was one of those tests where going into it, I almost expected the results to be quite drastic at first glance, but it's not until you start to dig into the details with these images that you really notice how much these two films differ from one another. And as mentioned, we'll look at that in depth later in the video. All right, so found another scene here. This isn't going to be exactly the most thrilling image, but I thought this could actually be interesting just to see the differences again. You know, you have the red brick here, kind of red orangey brick. You have the green grass and weeds, kind of green moss, red tiles, obviously the dark door. So yeah, could be a good one to see how much these differ. So also gonna go out wider for this one. Go to the 105 Fuji. Okay, show you a peek under the dark cloth here. So got it all framed up. That's our composition. Actually, like this a little more than I thought I was going to. But yeah, 105 and a little bit wider. And like I said, I like that red brick there on either side, and then some of the green in the scene as well. So very, very curious. So we'll jump back into the video in just a second. I just have to take a quick break now to talk about the sponsor today, which is Squarespace. So with the year coming to an end, it's always time for me to sit down and start doing some updates to my website. And for years now, I've been using Squarespace, which has just been an incredible tool to easily create and also update a professional looking website. So they have all sorts of high quality templates to choose from, or something like their blueprint builder, which allows you to build your site from scratch, but also gives you helpful tools like different layouts and font pairings, different color palettes. But for me, I love how quick and intuitive the platform is to use. So galleries can be created and also updated easily. For example, you can click and drag to rearrange images for different sequences and pairings. And you can also do things like add an online store if you want to sell prints, books, or other things like that. So check out squarespace.com today, sign up for a free trial, test it out. And when you're ready to launch, you can use my link below to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Okay, let's get back into things. So this is another pair of images where the difference is in the details, and the standouts for me are the pot at the bottom of the door and also the bricks. And when we look at these, you can see just how much darker those are in the Ortho Plus compared to the HP5 image. So when I was doing research for this video, one of the things that was pointed out was just how much Ortho can struggle with bright skies, just rendering them almost featureless and white. And you can see that here with the two side by side, with HP5 just showing a little bit more detail in the sky and actually being able to see the clouds. But I also did read that filtration can help Ortho with this. You know what, I actually brought a Tiffin Yellow 12 filter. Apparently yellow or green with Ortho can help quite a bit. So I'm gonna put this on and shoot this frame again if I can actually get this to thread on, come on. And it'd be interesting to see if that helps with the sky. Wow, this is crazy. Come on. There we go, okay. So yellow 12, leave everything the same. We're just gonna go half a second. One stop difference. So this was the only image I shot on the day with the yellow filter, and you can see the difference with the sky detail, with the yellow filter helping there, but also just some other nice contrast changes throughout. And I actually really like how this looks, and it's inspired me to go and shoot more of this film with the yellow filter in the future. So I wrapped up the comparison with the final two sheets of film, just shooting one wide open image on the 152mm and then one wider image on the 105. And unfortunately, this last one, the dark slide got pulled a little bit in the bag on the HP5, so there is this pretty kind of harsh burn on the one side of the image, but regardless, still gives us an idea of the difference between the two. Okay, so I had a lot of fun going out and doing that. Like I said, we're gonna jump on the computer here quickly and just dive into things a little bit deeper. But I will say that I enjoyed ortho a lot more than I thought I was going to, and it wasn't as drastic as a difference as I expected, which was nice to see. There obviously are differences, but maybe we'll start by talking about contrast. So when I developed the film and saw the negatives for the first time, what was interesting is that is where the biggest difference was. And I'll put a shot of them on the screen right now, but basically the ortho negatives were quite a bit more contrasty, and like bright highlight areas, there was a lot more kind of density to them. So when I scanned them and brought them on the computer and went to convert them, I was expecting to see, yeah, pretty strong results. But as we can see here, we have ortho on the left, HP5 on the right. You know, they both look good. There is for sure a little bit of a stronger look to the ortho here. But what I started to notice with all of these is it's really in like the highlight areas you see this. So we look on the chair here in this bright area here. The ortho has like a little bit more punch to it. The highlights are always brighter, a little bit more contrast. If we look here and on the bark of the tree, whereas on the HP5, it almost just feels like a little bit more muted, a little bit more flat. But even if we look at the grass area back here too, you can see on the ortho, it's green grass a little bit lighter compared to the HP5. But, you know, as we start to go through these, you notice the same kind of differences. So ortho on left, HP5 on right. Make sure I have these in the right order. You can see again, these bright areas, a lot more punch to these highlights on the ortho, whereas the HP5, a little bit more muted, and then a little bit more contrast down here with this moss compared to the HP5. And then we have this image here. We looked at this in the video, but again, this orange kind of red planter pot, quite a bit darker in this version, and same with the kind of orange reddish brick as well. Little punchier here. You can see up in the shadows here, a bit more detail in this version. But if we go to these wide shots here, so again, ortho on left, HP5 on right. One of the things that I like about HP5 is the flexibility, but almost always when I shoot it, I'm kind of getting images like this where I know I'm gonna go in afterward and add some contrast and edit them. It's like the mid-tone sections can feel a bit flat almost, and you have to go in there and tweak things. Whereas the ortho version, you can see, has a lot more almost like mid-tone or micro contrast to it. It feels more finished. So this is nice. I love the tones in this area here. But as I said in the video, the sky in this version, you can see is pretty featureless. Obviously, this is still really bright in the HP5 version, but you can see the clouds here. You could probably pull this back as well. And then a couple more examples here. So ortho on left, again, sky's a lot brighter, a little more muted here. But even down here, this section's a lot brighter in the ortho version. And even on the cross here, there's quite a big difference between the two. If we look at both of them, even going into 100%, you can see shadows are quite a bit kind of more crushed or darker in this version compared to the Ilford, and just, yeah, brighter highlights, more contrast here. And then last example here, this is the one with the horrible film burn, but again, sky is very bright in this version. Shadows are a little deeper where, you know, this image is a little bit more flat. So yeah, the ortho is nice. I don't think it's something I would ever, you know, switch to 100%, but I could certainly see myself shooting it more in the future, especially, like I said, with a yellow filter. So we have this unfiltered version on the left, yellow on the right. And I really like how this helped the sky a little bit. You know, you can see more of the clouds, like I mentioned. Excuse how dirty this filter was. I probably should have cleaned it beforehand. But I love the increase in contrast in this filtered version, and especially this area where it's really kind of like brightened up and pulled this like yellowy green moss and created some really nice separation there compared to this version. So I love how this looks. You know, the grass is a little brighter as well. And just, yeah, the bit of increased contrast with that filter. So this is something I would love to do more of, is get out with this film and shoot a bunch of frames using that filter and see how it looks, get a better feel for it, I guess. And then the last thing I wanted to look at, we didn't do this in the video, is just when it comes to sharpness and detail. So obviously the ortho is a much slower film than the HP5. And if we go into 100% here, you can see on these scans, the detail and the sharpness looks incredible in these. Really, really nice throughout. But with that being said, I've always been quite impressed with HP5 in 4x5 when it comes to grain and sharpness. And this is the HP5 on the right. This is the Ortho on the left. And you can see they actually look pretty comparable. There are differences once you start to kind of look into it, but the HP5 still does look really nice from a sharpness and detail standpoint. And then one more here for grain. Maybe this will be a good one because we have this kind of featureless area. So Ortho on the left, HP5 on the right. And this is where you can notice it a little bit. So obviously the Ortho, a lot less kind of noticeable grain in these featureless areas here where you can start to see it a bit more with the HP5. But I actually don't mind grain. And like I said, HP5 in 4x5, I feel like it's pretty minimal still. Like they both look good to me. So yeah, nice performance from both. But yeah, the Ortho, I think, has won me over to at least shoot more of in the future and yeah, get a better feel for it moving forward. So something maybe my next trip up to North Wales will take with me, take a yellow filter and see how it does in those environments. I'd actually be really curious to see what it's like up there. So yeah, anyways, that's going to wrap this one up. I hope that this video helps, if you've been curious about Ortho or interested in shooting some or wondering how it differs to something like HP5. And yeah, that's going to be it for this. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.